Councilman Gishard.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and by publication in the Press of Atlantic City and the Star Ledger on January the 11th, 2021. Mr. Cheek?
Here.
Mr. Gishard?
Present.
Mrs. Link?
Here.
Mr. Patali?
Here.
Mayor Kane?
Here. And next, we'll observe a moment for private reflection. I just want to thank everyone for the thoughts and prayers sent my way for my mother, and I ask that you keep her in your prayers this evening. All right, we'll move on. We have a guest presentation. I'm anticipating this, Mr. Day. Jeffrey Day is here to speak on behalf of the landfill closure and update us on the remediation efforts. Jeff, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everybody. Good evening. First of all, I'd like to wish everybody a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Enjoy this time. It's always a nice time of year. We can certainly use it these days, eh? Let me start with just some discussion. So, main reason I'm here today is we have a resolution on the agenda to file it's kind of continuing application. We filed the first remedial action application in 2017. You need to submit one every year if you've got activity going on. We've completed we're completing the landfill closure plan. We're about 80% through. We've just been reviewing the 80% design the last couple of weeks, moving that towards 100% completion. That'll be the first document that's submitted to the department. Once that's approved, we got a remedial action work plan that goes in. That's kind of approved as soon as the LSRP certifies that. And then we've got our Pinelands application. So we hope to get those things wrapped up in the next 90 days or sooner. And I've got some drawings here to show you about the status of the remediation. We have been in, we're moving ahead a little much quicker now, thanks particularly to the mayor and
In the center. Go over. Oh, right there.
This is the existing condition plan. Showing the landfill basically as it is. Page. This is our layout with the solar panels. Pretty straightforward. We have adjusted this road, Steve. Location that you recommended, we talked about before. I'm sorry, my bad. You'll see we've got coverage of complete coverage with panels. We may not be able to put all these panels, depending on how much power we're able to put in with their Atlantic City Electric interconnection, but we have been able to engineer such that we can pretty much completely cover the landfill area with panels upon completion. These are just 3 sheets from the plans right now. There's several other sheets with details and design. The 4th sheet that's not on here is the soil erosion sediment control plan. But the drawings are pretty much ready to go. The report that goes along with this is what we're working on, and then the financial plan is the other component of the closure plan. Goes into the state. This is the grading plan, and this is what the elevations will look like. The panels will be on top. So really, we've got pretty much a net neutral cut fill plan here. We're not going to really need to import any material. It's just really grading and moving material around, making sure we've got a 2-foot cover on top of the entire area, and trying to make the topography as gentle as possible so we can get that coverage that we have with the panels. But there'll be a complete coverage of a 2-foot cap of clean soils. we've already done soil sampling of of existing superficial soils, and we'll make sure. As you can see, there's an access road all the way around the landfill. We've got a number of basins here. This design was updated with the most recent NJDEP stormwater guidance, so this is a little bit more sustainable. We've got smaller basins, but a lot more of them around the area. You will note here that we do have, and we talked about this before, we have our 3 lots that we're encroaching on over here, and we're working with the Industrial Commission and the committee on how we're going to deal with those. But we're moving forward now after several Industrial Commission meetings, and confidence we'll be able to figure out a way to work that out. I've got some new ideas, and Steve has been helping us out with that. So that's generally the situation, the status. We hope that by the end of the winter or the end of March, we've got everything filed with the department as well as the Pinelands Commission. And we would hope to actually begin construction later next year. It's about a
Quarter, you're thinking? Third quarter?
third quarter, yeah, third or fourth. If really, as you know, Pinelands and their response rate is really a factor. We will be engaging them in review of the remedial investigation reports, existing data. Again, what we have to show to them to be able to do a non-impervious cover here is that if there is a groundwater plume, it's not protecting anybody, it's not impacting anybody. Updating everybody on this committee, we did an extensive groundwater investigation out here, and in our documentation, our submittal to the department, we basically show, the data shows that this landfill is not what was impacting the surrounding community prior, way back in the late 80s and 90s. So that was and it's a pretty clean landfill. Most of any contaminants were in there are already degraded and cooked out, and there is your typical anions and cations that you see in the groundwater show that there was an impact, but it's pretty well naturally attenuated at this point. So there'll be ongoing groundwater monitoring. There'll be monitoring of this system long after 30 years. You got to monitor this thing after you've got the cap on and the panels are there. So we'll be making sure that that's part of the closure and post-closure financial plan. That's part of it. So.
Jeff, are you going to be doing more clear cutting, or is it just the solar panels are going to exist the existing footprint?
No, it'll be on the existing footprint. We do need to clear all the trees off of it, obviously, to do all this grading work. So we will cut that. And then, was that basically your question?
Well, I mean, that's essentially brush. I mean, yeah. But I mean, the site that was previous dump, that's going to be the area, the outlying tree line. Is that going to remain intact to shield the public from view of the?
Yeah, here we have, you'll see these areas around here. This could all remain. Anything outside this area, we'll need to clear pretty much everything inside this area. And then we can talk about replanting and what needs to go here. We've got some other landfills that are in on surface water features, et cetera, and the department really makes us go to town on replacing those trees and plantings. So we're pretty familiar with that program. So, but that's certainly not something that we would be opposed to. We need to just build that in. I think that, again, we're on these lots here, and depending on how we manage the situation, we certainly would do some work here. This area down here, sorry, Lisa, is going to remain pretty much untouched, as well as along this area, and then this area here as well.
Oh, any questions, comments, committee?
Yeah, I've got a question. How many panels are you talking about? And
no, I don't have the exact count on this. I know I meant to get that number. I don't have the number. I can get that and send you the number.
And what kind of revenue do you expect that to generate or save?
We expect to generate at least enough revenue to cover our ongoing monitoring costs. And we have planned in the development plan to do a pilot with the township and obviously have that revenue coming in. The biggest benefit in this model, which we're doing on a couple other projects, is the cost avoidance for, actually closing a landfill, which is this budget, the way we've done it, because we're using the native cover and really it's just a grading program, is somewhere between, there's a big range right now, but $2.5 to $4 million is the overall budget. And we've got 75% of that from HDSRF. If they approve every aspect, there are certain aspects of the things that they may not include and approve. But if that's the case, then we would finance the other 25%, and some of the revenue would go to pay that. And then there's an ongoing monitoring and maintenance of the landfill. It's about $50,000 a year of work, sampling and groundwater sampling. Monitoring is more intensive in the beginning, and then it backs off as you move down. And then you just have to do inspections, and erosion needs to be repaired and those kind of things.
Mr. Chief, you say you have 2 foot of covering over top of the existing landfill. How are the panels mounted to the ground, or?
Yeah, there's actually a detail sheet. That's the last one. They're mounted on basically concrete pads. So it's a floating system. It's not.
The pad sits on the ground.
Yeah.
So you're not penetrating the 2 feet.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's typically what's used on a landfill,
Mhm.
so you don't anchor. And if you're in a non-developed or a non-contaminated area, let's say, you anchor them in with a kind of a
Mhm.
foot or a pile.
Are you saying that the cap is 2 feet high, right?
It's 2 feet thick.
Thick?
So I know you can't really see this here, but when this gets final, hopefully here in the next 30 to 45 days, I'll send you all this plan, and you can see these elevations on here. So there's an existing, elevation here already. I mean, it's a good sized mound if you go out there. Now it's all dirt bike tracks, right? But this is a similar but smoother surface, if you will, of this grading. So we're trying to minimize the amount of work to get to the finished product, and then also give as flat of an area as possible. It looks pretty undulating here with all these contours, but it's really not that bad.
Is this cap going to be acceptable to the Pinelands?
Yeah, well, that's why I said they have to. The data we have already done a few years back in the remedial investigation supports the fact that there's not a groundwater plume, and that's the main thing that they're concerned with.
Okay.
If we had issues with that, we would need to be dealing with them on how we do it, and that's the biggest cost avoidance. Impermeable cover, a plastic coating out here, we're $10 to $15 million of cost to install one of those. So $225,000. That was before you couldn't get anything when you ordered it.
So where would the water flow once everything is installed?
Out, and that's the other part of this grading, and that's one of the main components of a landfill closure plan is a stormwater. So you'll see there's basins around the landfill here, and there's a swale right inside of inside or right outside, a couple areas around where the access road is, and all the stormwater goes into those basins, is retained there and infiltrates down into the ground.
Very good.
So the idea, it's basically on top of the landfill, there's panels, and there's also grass. We'll plant what they call a no-mow mix grass, which Steve's probably very familiar with. And it'll keep some of the stormwater from infiltrating into the landfill. Some will obviously infiltrate, but then it'll run off to the basins as we design.
You had some discussions with the school system. What were the agreements? Do you know?
You're talking about the agreements with the school?
Yeah.
Yeah. We our solar constructor, Citizens Energy, has an agreement with the school. It has probably expired now. But the school, we reached out to them, I want to say in 2020, and they were busy with COVID, obviously. So as we move this on this year, I actually have a call with the citizens later this week to go over this and another project where they're a developer on. And we're going to get them engaged in discussions again.
Yeah, that will reduce their operating costs, I hope, right?
Oh yeah, no, they can use a lot of power. They can use probably more power than we can fit on this land. So that's a real benefit to the county and the residents and the students and everybody. So hopefully they'll pass those savings along. Another couple of things that aren't part of this, but just administrative. There's a provision in our agreement, and I'll send you copies of this, particularly Bob. We're going to assign the redevelopment agreement to a separate development LLC company. That's how we do it. Then we depending on how we need to finance this other 25%, we can bring it in. LRS is the current developer. That's our redevelopment company. So we always do this when we get to the point where we're ready to get some additional financing. And I'll provide all the documentation consistent with the agreement, who the ownership people are, and all that stuff. So you'll be able to see all that. That's within in the agreement. It'll probably be something like HBP Renewal. That's my renewals are kind of a brand, but HB Hamilton Business Park. The other thing is that we're going to be having a LSRP engage rather than myself from our shop, Brian Amelia. So I'll send you his credentials. But he's from RCC, so he'll be the LSRP to sign off on this documentation. So the nice part about using the HD fund and having both the solid waste and there's a lot more paperwork and some more work involved, but you have both a professional engineer and an LSRP both sign off on the closure. Hopefully lend some support for Judy's Pinelands question.
Committee, any other questions?
One last question. Your retention basins, are they interconnected with underground piping from one to the other?
I don't know if there's any inverts in inlets there. There is an invert here.
No, not invert. Interconnected, one basin
Yeah, I
to
don't
the
think
other.
they go to one to another. No, they just, no, I don't think so. And I apologize for not knowing the detail on that.
If I could, the new stormwater rules, they don't allow, or they highly recommend no more large basins.
Yeah,
You have a limit to 2.5 acre watershed when you design. So a 2.5 acre watershed creates a small basin. They want to see small. If a basin's going to fail, they don't want to see a large basin fail. They want to see maybe smaller ones that can be remediated. So that's why you have a series of small basins.
Right.
And they're not required to be connected.
Right. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, we did have, there was only 2, I think, in the original design, the preliminary conceptual design, maybe 3. Now there's 6 or 7 or 8, just for that reason.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much. We'll look forward to you updating us when you get the certificate from Pinelands.
Yeah, absolutely. I was knowing when this resolution goes. Trouble again. The resolution for tonight is to file the application for the HD application. When that comes in, I'll have to come back because we got more resolutions for the contract documents that goes in the package for the grant documentation. So, but and hopefully that'll be before we come back with all the other information paperwork. Oh, that's the other benefit to this, by the way. I should have mentioned that up front. They modified the HDSRF law in September and took the renewable energy, which is also conservation, and the fund availability went from $2.5 million to $10 million a year.
Wow.
That's what opens us up to be able to hopefully start this third quarter. Because prior to that, the entire state, not only renewable energy, but conservation projects, so parks and things that were being developed on brownfield sites in North Jersey, you can imagine, we're all competing for this 2.5. So now that there's 10, there's much more funds available. The overall fund itself has a good amount of money in it, and the folks at the department are anxious to get applications in because they want to document the legislature that they're going to use all this 10 million. So it puts us in a good position to move forward.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. All right, now we're going to move from contamination to admiration. We're going to, tonight is Committeeman Gashard's last meeting on this term. So Mrs. Link, if you would be kind enough, she has a proclamation that we'll read in honor, and I believe there will be a presentation after that. So wherever you want to go. You want to switch with me, Judy?
Yeah, it would be good. Since you. Hello. It is my honor tonight to read the proclamation from my dear partner, Rodney. And we'll begin by reading the proclamation. Whereas Rodney Grishard has conscientiously served the citizens of the Township of Hamilton for the past 9 years, first elected as a committeeman in November 2012 for a 3-year term, and re-elected for 2 additional 3-year terms in 2015 and 2018, serving as a committeeman from 2013 to 2021. Whereas during this long tenure as a township committeeman, Rodney Grishard has served as a department chair of the committees for special events, planning, zoning, and community development and public works, and has been a powerful advocate on behalf of the Senior Advisory Committee, the Veterans Advisory Committee, and the Green Team. Whereas Mr. Grishard has selfishly volunteered his time, talents, and leadership to serve the citizens of the community and work for the betterment of the Township of Hamilton in many capacities, including his service as a member president of the Hamilton Township School Board, officer of the VFW Post 220, local chapter president of the South Jersey National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association, local chapter president of the National Technical Association, member of the National Society of Black Engineers, and member of the South Jersey Transportation Planning Organization Citizens Advisory Committee. Now, therefore, we, the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey, on this day, December 20th, 2021, do hereby honor Rodney C. Grishard in recognition of his devotion to the residents of the Township of Hamilton. We take this opportunity to express our sincere and grateful appreciation for his service, and to others to offer our best wishes to him for continued success, happiness, and good health.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Mrs. Link, Township Committee, and audience. It's been a great experience for me. It's certainly challenging and provides an opportunity to meet the people in town. I have the feeling of community here, which is a feeling I think you'd all like to retain. I've had a chance to meet many people. The township has a tremendous amount of talent here, and residents who are capable and residents who do provide many services that the other residents get. The Green Team is an example. The Historical Society is another example, and there are many, many more. Town has good people, a collection of great people, and I've appreciated serving you. It's taught me a lot about local government and what's good and what's bad about local government. It's been very interesting. So with that, once again, I thank you. I've enjoyed and appreciated working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
All right, congratulations, Rodney, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for your service. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. we will move on. I believe there's going to be another presentation at the end of the meeting for those of you who might want to stick around. We'll move on to addition, deletion of late agenda items to be considered for action tonight. We have one item, which is 3B, Hamilton Township Municipal Utilities Authority Subcommittee. Committee? Motion to accept?
I move to accept.
We have a motion?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Peter, do we have anyone signed up for early public comment on agenda items?
Ms. Hopkins has signed up.
All right. Ms. Hopkins?
Rodney, I'm still on the public side. I just wanted to tell you that we think you're the Switzerland of that board.
I'm sorry, say that again.
We think you're the Switzerland of the board, and we're going to miss you. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sue. All right. Anyone else signed up? We're good? So we'll move on to 3. Discussions, formal action may be taken. The first item we have is A, Brine, Shared Services Agreement.
There's a resolution on your agenda tonight to enter into a shared service agreement with the county for us to trade salt material for brine material. In the last budget, Administrator Liston purchased a 2,000-gallon brine machine. We don't have the ability to make our own brine, but the county does. And what the county has done is enter shared services where we trade salt for the brine. We can pick up a Bear Tavern up in Hamilton to do whichever section of township we're in. I asked Public Works Director Noel to do a calculation for me as to how many miles we get with brine as compared to salt. I attached that with your package. Is that 1 ton of salt, it costs us 40 gallons per mile for brine and 80 pounds of salt per mile to put it down. The brine, if you've seen the state highway and some of the county roads, has been very effective if the timing is good on it. So our recommendation is to try it for this coming winter season. Hopefully we'll get some snow. We'll decide how well it works for us and if it's effective. You know, brine works by a chemical reaction. Usually you can apply it to the blacktop 24 hours in advance of the snow hitting the ground, and then a chemical reaction causes the snow to dissipate and not accumulate in the roadways. And our neighbors have done it and been able to use it successfully. So I would hope that you can act upon the resolution later tonight. If you have any questions, either Brett or I can answer them for you. But we're ready to try this winter.
I had a conversation with former Mayor Silva, and he was very happy to see this on the agenda for this evening. It's something he said that we should have been doing for quite a few years. So, any questions, comments? What's your pleasure?
Move the resolution.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Rita, let's roll call that, please.
It's on the agenda under 6C, if you want to take that jointly instead of acting independently at this time.
You okay with that, Mr. Sandman? Or?
I am.
Okay. All right, so we are going to add the consent agenda item D. I'm sorry.
No, it's under award of 6C. It's already
6C,
listed for
forgive
your
me.
consideration.
Yes. So 6C, we're going to incorporate that into the motion. Are you okay with that, Mr. Bouchard?
Yes.
Second, we're good?
Yes.
All right. With that being said, Rita, could I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale.
Yes.
Mayor Kane.
Yes,
All yes and carried.
Can I ask a question about this?
of course.
It says authorizing award of a non-fair and open purchase. What in the world does that mean?
We're able to enter agreements with other governmental agencies for shared services without having to go out to a physical bid to find out if there's private sector people that can do the same thing.
So is this unfair?
Maybe that's a typo. It's not unfair.
No, it's non-fair.
Non-fair.
Unfair. Oh.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see,
I think it's the one above.
Yeah, it is.
oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's 6A and 6B.
So we should change B to un also? Or-
no, no, no.
or no,
B
keep it
is
non,
fine.
right,
It's-
okay, it is non-fair, okay,
C has no reference to non-fair and open purchase.
gotcha. You got that?
Mhm.
All right, we'll move on to item 3B, Hamilton Township Municipal Utilities Authority Subcommittee. I asked to have this put on the agenda this evening after several conversations. My first conversation was with the deputy mayor regarding the stipend that we get from the MUA every year. In addition to that, we are required by New Jersey best practices on an annual basis, which we haven't done, to evaluate the MUA. So my thought processes on this with the onerous demands that have been placed on the MUA with certain pipe replacement and the fact that their budget is going to be impacted from that, and the fact that we joined the county court system and we have ample room in this building for the MUA offices to be relocated. And the MUA has a very nice location on Kenskull Avenue that would make an amazing parking lot for downtown and its patrons, business owners and patrons, that there may be consideration in forming a subcommittee to look into those things and find out what type of real cost savings. I see the chief in the back of the room. He'll recall 10 years ago, the PBA sat at that same microphone and they touted numbers right around 1.7 to 2.5 million in savings annually if we had the township and the MUA share services together. So I'd like to explore that and find out if those savings are actually there. And my proposal would be to have a member to a township committee, a member of the board of the MUA, a business owner or two that are ratepayers in the township. And I've also asked former Mayor Silva if he would like to be part of that committee to look into shared services and cost savings. So the fact that it is something we're required to do, I felt this was the right way to do it, look at it globally, and see what type of savings could be realized on an annual basis by doing such. So questions, comments?
Yeah, I'm just curious, what's the main source of these savings?
Well, if you go back through, and there's several articles that were printed on, made on it, consolidation of management services, duplication of equipment. They buy backhoes, we buy backhoes. Of course, there's specialized equipment with both sides. Sharing of the workforce for different duties. The MUA has a bunch of small trucks that could be outfitted with plows to get into smaller parking lots and things of that nature. There's the purpose of the subcommittee is to find out what savings are there and decide whether or not how we want to look at those savings and how we'd like to proceed moving forward. So again, the fact that it is a requirement for us anyway, I think it's the perfect time. And the fact that they have had these onerous demands put on them by the state, same thing as we deal with here, unfunded mandates, state unfunded mandates. At the end of the day, I think it'd be a good opportunity for us to look at it collectively together and see if we can save the ratepayers and the taxpayers of this town. I mean, if you take the numbers that the PBA put out at the microphone, you could be looking at, anywhere from $15 to $25 million over 10 years if we realize those savings. So I think it's worth looking at it. And that would benefit both ratepayers and taxpayers.
I just wanted, the conversation that I believe we had was about the MUA and the amount of money that they give us each year. I was just questioning that. And so are we looking at dissolving the MUA? Is that what this is?
Well, I think that you have to look at is it a better fit for the MUA to be run by the township? And that is part of the reason why New Jersey best practices wants you to evaluate them every year. Whether or not there's a necessity to have a separate MUA and a governing body, and a township Public Works. So does it make sense for those two things to be combined in a township of our size? And that's what we'd be exploring. In answer to the comment you just made, you were questioning whether or not the MUA should have its full 250. I then did reach out to the MUA director, and he explained to me the strains on their budget this year. He did assure me, though, that we would see that 250. But I said, this may be a way for all of us moving forward to take the strain off of that budget and realize additional savings. So,
we examined this question several years ago and came to a conclusion that the MUA remaining separate was advantageous.
Then it would be an exercise in futility if that's the case. If they, I think we formed a subcommittee and we let them come to the determination. I reached out to the chairwoman this morning, and I'm confident that I'll get her cooperation for any information that's needed for Township Committee. For the subcommittee in order to do a proper evaluation. So.
Okay.
I think it would be a worthwhile exercise. And as we are entering into the shared service mantra, that we also look at that as a possibility.
I appreciate that. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Read a roll call, this, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
No.
Mayor Kane?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
4 yes, 1 no, motion carries.
All right. I do want to mention, I have reached out to a few. I would like to see 2 members of Township Committee. My recommendation would be Mrs. Link, if she would like to accept the responsibility, and Mr. Cheek, since this is somewhat in his wheelhouse. I also, again, as I said, I'd like them to make the determination. I reached out to former Mayor Silva on another matter. We did discuss this. He would like to be part of it. And I did receive a response from Mike Colazzo, who is a business owner in town. I know many of you know him well. He's also a ratepayer and a business owner. He'd like to be part of it. And I also reached out to Bobby Laws, who is also a ratepayer and business owner in the town. And they would like to add their input if you guys so desire. So, do we have any objections to Mr. Cheek and Mrs. Link heading that committee up?
No.
All right. I thank you. All right, next we'll move on to 5 introductions of ordinances. We have none. 6, award of bids, contracts, and change orders. First one, A, resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Pro Phoenix Corporation for annual software maintenance for the police department in an amount not to exceed $46,661.10.
Mr. Mayor, you skipped over 4A, the ordinance public hearing.
At this point, I'd like to open it up to the public for, wait a minute, I'm sorry, Peter.
Ordinance number 1976 of 2021, you have to conduct a public hearing on that prior to adoption.
Forgive me. Because of my notes on here, Peter, I skipped right over that. I apologize. Let me back up, please. We're going to move on to 4, public hearing adoption of ordinances. We have A, ordinance 1976-2021, an ordinance to amend Ordinance 1954-2021 entitled, an ordinance amending Article 2 of Chapter 66 of the Code of the Township of Hamilton, providing for annual salary increases and increases in salary maximums for certain employees. We've had a tremendous amount of discussion as a board about this. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak on this matter? Mr. Kerrigan, please come up to the microphone.
Will MUA employees get these raises too?
Jim, we're speaking about 4A, which is the ordinance that I just outlined. That's what you can come up and speak to on this time. And do you have any comments about 4A?
Yeah, will MUA get tied to this to 4A?
No, it will not.
Not
The MUA is a separate. That was a separate discussion altogether.
But in the future, the MUA will become part of the township, correct?
That is not being determined here this evening. If you wish to speak again in public hearing and ask me the same question, I will answer that for you, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Thanks.
So back to 4A. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. If there's questions, comments, or I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll move 4A.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gishard, second by Mrs. Link. Rita, roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale.
Yes.
Mayor Kane.
Yes.
All yes and adopted.
All right. Make sure I'm on track here. 6 awards. We have 5 introduction of ordinance. We have none. 6 awards of bids, contracts, and change orders. First one is A, resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Pro Phoenix Corporation for an annual software maintenance for the police department in the amount not to exceed $46,661.10.
I'll take the opportunity to answer Committeeman Gishard's question before about the non-fair and open. On this non-fair and open, there's a exception list which allows you, if for proprietary reasons for computer software, to not go through a fair and open process, that you can identify the vendor that does that work. And in this instance, this contractor is the one that installed our system, maintains our system, so there is no ability to competitively bid this type of work. And then on the B, non-fair and open, we went out to bid 2 times for an RFP without a response. And Knox makes lock boxes that most of our businesses have. So they were the only bid. We negotiated the price with them. And this is the price which is being awarded to them, and the funds are certified for it. When I met with Ms. Link and Ms. Gishard earlier, there's a question raised. We have almost 250 Knox boxes throughout the township. What this is doing is putting an electronic key in all the fire equipment. Businesses will have about 2 to 3 years to convert from the key which opens the box to electronic key that opens the box. For that cost of the transfer for the businesses will be about $250. Once the fire company has the new boxes, those businesses will be notified of the need to, over the next couple of years, to upgrade their Knox boxes too. The Knox box gives the fire department, police department, access to a building when an alarm goes off and they respond, and they're there before the business owner can respond.
Okay.
So they electronically open instead of
Well,
getting the key
it's
to
almost
the
like a
front
magnet
door.
lock key. Right now, there's when you put that magnetic key in, then you put in a code and it opens a box. Now it's a physical key that goes in, opens up, and takes their key out.
Committee?
I'll move 6B.
Moved by Mr. Gishard.
Second.
6A.
A
yes.
and B together could.
Yeah.
You wanted to?
Do we have a list of businesses that have these boxes?
Yes, we do. I didn't get that for tonight's meeting.
Okay.
Second by Mrs. Link. Rita, roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale.
Yes.
Mayor Kane.
Yes. The only comment I noticed that is 3,100 for Google Maps. Can't we get that? I mean, I get Google Maps. 3,100. B, resolution authorizing award of non-fair and open purchase of 18 rapid access master key retention units from Knox Associates, DBA Knox Company, in the amount of $27,867.74. You've heard the explanation on this. Committee?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Rita, roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard.
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale.
Yes.
Mayor Kane.
Yes.
All yes and carried.
All right, we'll move on to C, resolution authorizing the Township of Hamilton to enter into a contract agreement with the County of Atlantic regarding a brine for rock salt. Oh, we took that.
Did that.
We took that one, yes. All right, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have consent agenda number 7, A through G. If there are no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Gishard,
Second.
second by Mrs. Link. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we'll move on to 8. Personnel. A, resolution to appoint Christopher Tilley as Operations Supervisor in the Department of Public Works at an annual salary of $60,165.50, effective December 20th, 2021.
So moved.
I have a
Second.
motion by Mr. Patali, second by Mr. Gishard. Rita, could I get a roll? Any other questions or comments regarding the motion? God bless you.
Bless you.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Patali.
Yes.
Mayor King.
Absolutely, yes.
Carried.
Next, we have 9 approvals, minutes, regular meeting minutes of December 6th, 2021.
Motion.
Motion,
Second.
second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Ayes have it. We'll move on to B, minutes, executive session meeting minutes of December 6th, 2021.
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Patali.
Yes.
Mayor King.
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Lastly, we have C, bill list, total $2,044,563.94.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mrs. Link,
Second.
second by Mr. Cheek. Rita, roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Patali.
Yes.
Mayor King.
Yes.
All yes and carried.
All right, we'll move on to reports. Mr. Administrator.
Other than to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, I have nothing else to report.
All right.
I wish everybody the same, and I have nothing further.
That's a comment. No.
You guys are really making me look good tonight here. Mr. Philippon?
Yeah, Mayor and Committee, just a few items. Lake Lenape Dam, no change to what I reported 2 weeks ago. Just to remind committee, in February, we will have an information session set up by the county and WSP, the consultant. Second item is New York Avenue Bridge. My report states that the bridge is scheduled to open on Wednesday. I went there at 4:45 tonight. Line striping is in place. The guide rail looks like it's 95% complete. The last thing for the county is to finish the guide rails and to remove the signs. So I would say we're probably looking at Wednesday. There won't be any fanfare. The county tells me they'll remove the signs and the bridge will be open when it's ready to be open. So it looks like Wednesday right now. The road
Wow.
program, Grand Avenue, Harley, South, and also Gravelly Run Court were completed. We were satisfied with the work that was done by the contractor. They got everything done this year, which we were asked them to do, and those projects are those 4 roads are complete. 3rd Street, I understand the performance bonds and the maintenance performance bonds and all the paperwork is in order. The only item left now is the signing of the contract. With that, once that's done, I'll set up a pre-construction meeting.
I was actually able to ride my Harley down Gravelly Run Road, and my kidneys were still intact when I was done. So I appreciate Gravelly Run getting done. So it looks fantastic down there. So,
Thank you.
and it's good news to hear about New York Avenue getting completed. So,
Yes.
Pinehurst Avenue. One end by the 322, I heard that was done by the gas company.
Yes.
And then the other end was Woods Landing.
Yes.
Okay. Just so I figure out what was what, because we had that question about it before.
Yep. The gas company did one end where they had some street opening permits, and with I guess Committeeman Cheek's hard effort, the rest of the road was taken care of this year.
I was going to report on Woods Landing.
And the traffic calming on Main Street, the posts are up, the speed limit sign is up. The radar isn't up yet.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody, do you know anything where we're at with that?
Thank you for bringing that up. I was told, and I actually asked the chief, he sent Wade Smith out, that the striping was done several weeks ago.
Okay.
And when I didn't hear Wade's excitement in his reply, I went out and checked it myself, and it was not done. So I believe that Mr. Del Rosso is under the impression that it was already striped. The crosswalks were supposed to be striped, the stanchions put back up in the middle of the roadways, and that has not been done.
I will look at it first thing in the morning and talk to the county and send an email out to everybody on committee. I will follow up first thing in the morning.
I
The county
appreciate that.
striped Hawthorne and Hancock, the 2 streets. They parallel to Main Street. They didn't stripe across it. So when I looked at Russell Tolstad, and I thought it was half done because they didn't do anything on Main Street. They just did the 2 cross streets.
Well, that was the purpose of it, was to.
I understand that.
So if you could look that into.
I will. I'll be out there first thing in the morning.
I was actually given a commitment that it was done, so I'm
I'm going to assume they didn't cross the street because somebody has to install a handicap ramp to line up with the crosswalk across Main Street, and that doesn't exist at either one of those 2 streets.
I will find out first thing in the morning and report to everybody.
Thank you. All right, this evening, Mr. Patelli, why don't you go first?
Not much to report. I guess we did a beach cleanup at the Cove. Not a lot there because got to give credit to Public Works. They keep that place pretty clean. Did find some neat stuff though. And a lot of people showed up on a really cold, rainy day. So it's nice to see the volunteerism that still goes on here in this town. It's very nice. It's uplifting. Give kudos to all the fire companies that drove the big guy around over the past couple of weeks. It's a lot of work for those guys, taking time away from their families to go out and bring some joy to everybody around town. So kudos to them. Great job as always. And so really, the only thing else is Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Festivus, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Have a good time. Enjoy your families. Be safe. And hopefully have a nice, healthy 2022. Reagan, Maddie, miss you. Love you. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Mr. Cheek.
Woods Landing, I believe the pavement is done as far as they're doing in this phase. They actually did more than they were supposed to do in this phase. And the contractor, in my opinion, did a beautiful job. You couldn't ask for anything better. As far as holidays, I wish everybody happy holidays and a safe 2022. And I thank Rodney for his public service over the years. So
Thank you.
thank you very much, Rodney.
Thank you, Mr. Cheek. Mrs. Link?
It was my pleasure to read the proclamation of Ronnie C. Grichard, Sr. And if anyone has true grit in this community, it is Rodney Grichard to face unbelievable obstacles. So kudos, and we will see more of you. Correct, Rodney?
I hope so.
Okay. Very good. And Merry Christmas to everyone, and have a Happy New Year, and whatever faith you do follow, please have a great holiday. Thank you.
I'm going to go out of order here, and I'm just going to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Richard for the final word.
Oh my goodness, the final word.
This evening.
Well,
How's that?
I just want to reiterate the comments on the holiday, wishing everyone a happy holiday and a happy year, actually. 2020 was a lousy year. 2021 is a bit better. Hopefully 2022 will be better yet. I certainly want to thank the staff here for the great job they've done. I don't know whether the town people recognize that we have a committed staff here that does a great job. And we want to keep it that way. We're proud of it. But I leave you all in good hands, and I look forward to improving the township in any way we can in the future. And I'm sure the committee will try to do that. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Okay, next we will open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak? Mr. Carrigan.
Yes, Rodney, you will be missed. And I remember the days back in 2010 when we served on the strategic planning.
I remember that too, and you never missed a meeting.
And those were the days. Back then, Harvey was the chairman, and Charles there was the vice chairman. Remember that, Mayor?
A lot of evenings out of the house on those meetings.
Yeah. Quality of Life Committee. When that work was done, I switched to fiscal vitality.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. And you're going to be missed. So I'm sure Sue will make an excellent replacement now.
Thank you, Jim.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Anyone else in the public that wishes to speak? Mr. Campbell. Oh, Mr. Campbell, please.
Mayor, would you have any objection of me taking the microphone up to?
Of course not. No.
To the mayor and township committee, we as a group in Hamilton Township would like to present this award to Rodney Gishard. And I'll read it. It says, presented to Rodney Gishard for outstanding service for the citizens of Hamilton Township as a member of the Township Committee from 2013 to 2021 from the Hamilton Township Democratic Committee. But most of all, to all the people that I know, no matter what party they are, that supported you, loved you for what you did. You did a lot of great things, and this last year has been a horrible nightmare for you. And I want to thank also your wonderful wife for the tremendous job that she did in making sure that you got around and you did your job on this committee. Unfortunately, she's not here tonight because she has a problem with her leg, as I understand it. But I want you to tell her that we all admire her and thank her for what she did. And I know that Judy and I know the rest of the Township Committee all respect what you have done, regardless of what party you were.
Absolutely.
We all thank you again, and I'd like to present this award to you.
Gee, thanks a lot, Bob. And I'd love to stand up and accept it, but that would be difficult. And I certainly want to thank you, Bob, for your service almost over the century.
Wow.
That was true. I really appreciate this award, and I've gotten much more than I was expecting today. It's much appreciated. And I'm certainly not going to forget the township or Bob and the other people.
It'll be hard to go along without you, but I know that the Township Committee changes all the time, and most of the time the changes are for the best. And we just wish the new Township Committee the best of luck. And to you, Mr. Cheek, congratulations on your victory. We did try to call you.
Yeah, I got
We missed the phone call.
I called you back. I got your message, your voicemail. Thank you.
All right. So anyhow, thank you again for Rodney, and thank you for the rest of you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And Jimmy.
So,
It's a pleasure, committee.
First of all, again, happy or Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone. Happy holidays to those who may want to or who ascribe differently. But we hope everybody has a great holiday and a great New Year. As an aside, I might be a little bit, biased here, but Judy looked pretty good in that center seat there, Charlie. Thank you for that. And again, as the chairman of the recent campaigns and the recent years, I've had the opportunity to discuss things a little bit, a political thing with Rodney, and Rodney is an amazing person. I'd like to thank you, Rodney, for being a great candidate. From the members of the Democratic campaign committees, congratulations to Richard and to Sue. We have all the faith in the world. You guys will do a great job, continue to do a great job. Judy, you're the only Democrat up there after January 3rd, and you'll continue to do that great job that you normally do. And kudos to everybody up there. Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
thank you. Our prayers are with you and your family and your mom.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that.
All the best, everybody. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Susan?
So I'm Susan Lazarchik, and on behalf of the Sustainable Township of Hamilton Green Team, we would like to honor you, Rodney Bouchard, to the dedication of the bench. The bench is a recycled Trex bench. We collected last year over 700 pounds of plastic film through the recycling program. So we want to dedicate this bench to you in appreciation and recognition for your commitment and support of our green team with Sustainable Jersey. In 2015, when a number of us appealed to our township to create a green team, and we had at least 2 meetings trying to do this, you saw the potential and of how we could contribute to the long-term sustainability of a municipality with having a green team, and you were our main supporter, and we appreciate that. Since then, we've received bronze certification twice with Sustainable Jersey. We received a small $2,000 capacity building grant, and last year received a $10,000 grant with matching funds to complete a green infrastructure assessment through Rutgers. We're excited to continue to make positive strides by completing actions through the over 150 actions with Sustainable Jersey. And their mission continues to be empowering New Jersey communities to build a better world for future generations with the tools, training, and financial incentives necessary to pursue critical sustainability initiatives. Without your support, Rodney, we may have never gotten this valuable program off the ground. And we really appreciate what you've done, where all of us do. And you have our gratitude, and we all wish you the best in your future pursuits.
Well, thank you, Susan. I certainly want to thank you and the Green Team for your contributions to the township. They're very substantial. I hope people appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
It's dedicated, and we'll go out front.
Okay.
Fantastic. Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
All very nice. Is there anyone else in the public that wishes to speak? Chief, do you have a moment? Would you like to say something? Oh, thank you. We want to get a picture of the bench up here with, it's,
Yeah, that would be good.
why don't we do that? Somebody.
Green team got you a green bench, Rodney.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a nice bench, too.
That's. You're just a mannequin, you know what I mean? Appreciate it. Could you? See, and I just assumed when you said the big guy, they were taking Greg around town. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. What a surprise. That's great. Thank you.
You can stay there for the rest of the meeting if you like.
As you know, COVID is spiking.
Mm-hmm.
So all I ask is that, everybody have a safe Christmas and New Year. Make sure that you do the proper, wear the proper mask and social distance and everything. I know that some of us have experienced it recently, and it's still a danger. So that's all.
Thank you, Chief. All right, is there anyone else in the public that wishes to speak this evening? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we will be adjourning to executive session. I'm going to leave it as we may or may not convene with action being taken. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton that this meeting be adjourned to an executive session to discuss the following matters which are exempt from public discussion pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law. Township Administrator Position Personnel. Be
Steve,
it further resolved.
what are
that
they
the
thinking
governing
for-
body may
just going to
reconvene
push
in public
3rd Street
session
off till
to
next
confirm
year, or are they still going to try to do some work over the
executive
winter? Do some winter work?
Be it further resolved that the results of the executive session shall be made known as soon as the basis for confidentiality is no longer confidential.
That wishes to speak? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion, please.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are not taking any action, so at this point, I will consider a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Gashard, second by Mrs. Link. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.